Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video, I'm gonna be listing off albums that need to be re-released. This is sort of a sequel to a video I did a while ago. That video I also mentioned albums that need to be re-released. This is just even more albums that need to be re-released. Just even more stuff that needs to be more accessible to everyone. Anyway. So first off is every single album by the band Rainbow. Now, Rainbow is one of the very few non-metal bands that I actually enjoy, besides like Queen and, Green Day to a certain extent. Yeah, just a really great hard rock band. They formed in the 70s and lasted, I think, until the mid-90s, I think. Now, this is a very, weird one because even though their first four albums have been re-released, uh, none of the other stuff has been re-released, at least from my knowledge. And even the first four albums that have been re-released, they've only been re-released on CD, not on vinyl. So I really wish every single one of the albums gets a vinyl and CD re-release. Yeah, that would be great. Hopefully that does happen sometime in the future. Anyway, next up is every single 80s Pantera album. Yep, that means Projects in the Jungle. Oh, wait, yeah, sorry. Metal Magic, then Projects in the Jungle. I Am the Night, and Power Metal. Now, yeah, sorry, I kind of, mixed up the order, but you guys get what I mean. Now, I can't stand their 90s stuff. I think it's absolute trash. Like, just really bad. The stupid dated 90s tough guy act. Yeah, and that's the reason why they won't release their 80s stuff and just choose to ignore it, is because, now, here's the pitiful and sad thing. These guys are, in their mid to late 60s at this point, and yet they still cling to this dated 90s tough guy act of, oh, we have to be tough guys, and hide all our 80s stuff because we don't want to be seen as 80s rockers. We want to be seen as the tough guys from the 90s. It's just pitiful. It's sad at this point. Again, these guys are I believe in their 60s now, and they're still doing this shit. It just shows how insecure they are, and insecure of them as a band, and insecure about their music in general, that they cling to this idea, oh, we have to be these tough guys and ignore the 80s stuff because just because it's just bullshit. It's ridiculous. It's just pitiful. And they really need to just adult up and actually acknowledge that their 80s stuff exists and then re-release it as well. I mean, all their 80s stuff, their first four albums are just so good. Yeah, I mean, their first one is pretty cheesy, but, even with that one's great as well. Power Metal's really the only 80s Pantera album I own at the moment, but I really want to get all of them. Yeah. So, just hopefully these guys will actually, break out of this stupid, mindset and actually acknowledge their 80s output and re-release it. But yeah. Alright, now, what's the next on the list? Oh yeah. Next up is all of Manowar's 80s albums. Now, Manowar isn't like Pantera where they choose to ignore their 80s stuff. They just, for whatever reason, haven't gone back and re-released it. Maybe it's just too much an effort. Maybe, they aren't in contact with the label that they were on originally. Who knows? But, from what I know, I believe a lot of their newer stuff has been re-released, stuff in the past, 10 years or so. But they really need to go back and re-release their older stuff. Because you can't even go out, regularly just buy their stuff, whether it be on, vinyl or CD. because both the vinyls of their 80s albums and the CDs, extremely hard to find, and the vinyls are way too expensive. They're like $100 or over for the most part. The CDs, aren't that expensive, but are very hard to find. Now, this one, just to show how hard to find even the CDs are, I had to get this as a Japanese import, just like with the Grim Reaper albums on CD. And then the only reason why I was able to get my hands on the vinyl is because this was a gift from my aunt. Like, she had this, probably bought it when it came out. And even though the vinyl's in pretty good shape, the case is kind of really worn, and the freaking sleeve for the vinyl is just really deteriorating. But yeah, so Manowar needs to just go back and re-release all their 80s albums, on both vinyl and CD. So far I only own their first album. But yeah. Alright. Next up on the list is a box set, and that's the Iron Maiden box set called The First 10 Years. I don't know the exact listing of every single one of the contents of this box set. I know a couple though, like it had a few live albums, including Beast Over Hammersmith, and I believe a few others. And then some, I believe, singles, as well as compilation albums, as well as the Soundhouse tapes. Now, this box set, for whatever reason, has never been re-released, so the contents of that box set, are extremely hard to find. Even if you do find, like, even if you do find something like, Beast Over Hammersmith, or the Soundhouse tapes or something, that were the contents, some of the contents of the box set. Even the standalone stuff is pretty hard to find. But yeah, just a great box set that needs to be re-released. Because even if you go searching for the box set on like eBay or something, it's gonna cost you well over $100, and it's just ridiculous. But yeah, something that also needs to be released is the Iron Maiden First 10 Years box set. Anyway, next up, next up is Judas Priest's best live album, 98 Live Meltdown. This is the first live album of the Ripper Owens era. Very underrated. Something really cool about this one is that even nowadays, this is one of the most diverse live albums by Judas Priest in terms of their music. Because you get songs from the 70s stuff, the 80s stuff, Painkiller and Jugulator, just a whole bunch of different eras of their discography on here. And then you get a really cool, kind of beautiful, like, acoustic live rendition of the song Diamonds and Rust. Yeah, I mean, Rob Halford needs to stop ignoring the Ripper Owens era, just, out of spite, I guess. Like, he's constantly, in the past couple of years, have basically trying to whitewash the Ripper Owens era out of existence. Best guess why? I mean, it's not really known why, but my best guess is that he might even be jealous of Ripper Owens for keeping his voice, whereas Rob Halford, it's kind of evident that he's sort of losing his, ability to get to the really high notes, and it's been like that for quite a while now. And Ripper Owens is still, killing it in live shows and stuff. Like, he's still got that ability to hit the highest notes possible. Whereas Rob Halford, not so much anymore. But yeah, it could be just out of spite, and he probably just hates that that Ripper can still hit those notes, whereas he can't anymore. That's just my best guess out of, just trying to figure out why the hell he ignores the Ripper Owens stuff. But yeah, this needs to be re-released, along with Jugulator, Demolition, and Live in London. But yeah. What's next? I have to flip the list over. Next up is another box set. probably even more awesome than the Iron Maiden one, and that's the box set by Slayer called Soundtrack to the Apocalypse. This is sort of a mega best of kind of thing. Like it's just like a whole bunch of like a compilation of a whole bunch of live tracks as well as demo tracks and stuff like that, and even some live recordings that haven't been heard before up until the release of this box set. Now, unlike the Iron Maiden one, where even though it's ridiculously priced, it's not too out there. Whereas the last time I saw a listing for the soundtrack to the Apocalypse box set, it was freaking $900. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, come on. Like, even for something that's out of print like that, that's just very petty of the seller. Like, $900. Oh, what the hell? That was weird. Sorry. Freaking. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Anyway. Yeah, so just a really good box set that needs to be re-released. I don't know if my lamp just dimmed, but for some reason on the camera it just got a little bit dark. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. There was one other thing. Yeah, alright. The last thing is the first 4 Cannibal Corpse albums need to be re-released with their original logo and artwork. So, here's the thing. Sometime around when George Corpsegrinder joined the band, they decided to change the Cannibal Corpse logo to something like just awful. Like, look at this logo. Like, if you know the original Cannibal Corpse logo, it looked way better than this stupid CGI'd crap. Like, even on the newer stuff in different, the newer albums in different, like, colors, the font's still kind of ugly and just downright awful. Like, the original logo, for those who don't know, looks a lot more like it looks a lot more natural. Like, here it looks like words scrawled in blood, but not. It's obvious that it's it doesn't look natural the way it is. Whereas the original Cannibal Corpse logo looked extremely natural. Like it looks like like for example, say like someone took some blood and scrawled the word Cannibal Corpse onto a wall, and then the blood started dripping down. That's what the original logo looked like, and it looked very natural as well. Whereas this just looks so manufactured looking. I hate the new logo. And then not only did they replace the great original logo with a very inferior one, they had the audacity to go back to the first 4 albums and replace the original logo with this stupid new logo, which it's just insulting, to be honest. And then they decided to, make alternative artworks for, I believe, the Bleeding, as well as, but not Butchered at Birth. What was the other one? I'm having mind blank. Tomb of the Mutilated, there we go. They decided to, have alternative artworks for Tomb of the Mutilated and the Bleeding. Tomb of the Mutilated, they replaced it with an artwork that actually is arguably as good as the original artwork, but the Bleeding, on the other hand, they changed the artwork to, like, just, like a horde of zombies, just a horde of zombies, with, like, a person being, like, torn apart or something. But they changed that one to just like a zoom in of the person, just like a little like zoom into their chest, where it just looks like salmon color, but it's like a zoom in of the picture, so much so that you can't tell what the hell it's a picture of anymore. Which honestly, like that album artwork compared to the other 3, this one, The Bleeding, and Tomb of the Mutilated, is probably the most tame. So I don't know why the hell they decided to replace it with something extremely inferior and to do the alternate artwork. It's just weird. But hopefully, I really hope they go back, re-release the first 4 albums not only with the original logo but with the original artworks, and to top it off, I really hope they re-release all 4 original albums on vinyl. Now, yes, I am not a fan of Tunes and Mutilated, although the Bleeding I've come to actually like over time. But even with me not liking the Tunes and Mutilated album, I still have a lot of respect for the impact it had on death metal. So yeah, I think all 4 albums need to, have the original, artwork, have the original logo, and to be re-released on vinyl, because for whatever reason, I believe they've only ever re-released them on CD. But yeah, so that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you all next time.